Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Corpse Party Blood Drive for the PC. In the last episode, we finished Chapter 0, and while we were exploring the Shinozaki relative's apartment, we've come across the ghost of the resident herself, and we discovered that she happens to be a character that we've seen from Corpse Party Book of Shadows. Specifically, the old woman that Miss Yui, during her school days, ran into during the middle part of Book of Shadows. Before we had to deal with all the fun events that occurred in that chapter later on. So yeah, we got to see her again, and well, she gave us a little bit. She gave Ayumi a little bit of trouble while she was trying to get out of her apartment. But luckily, we were saved by the timely intervention of not only Ayumi's friends, who managed to find her at this place, but apparently they were tipped off by someone who some of you may remember from my Corpse Party Sweet Sachiko's Historic Birthday Bash Let's Play, Aiko Niwa. So, I was pleasantly surprised to see her, see her make an appearance in this game again, especially so soon. Although, given what I know about her character from the last game I played, I'm suspicious of what her motives could be here throughout this whole adventure. If she's going to end up actually being an ally to me in the long run or not. But nevertheless, again, I was still pleased to see her again. So yeah, we left the apartment, and then, well, sometime afterwards, Ayumi was finally able to open her right hand, which ended up being closed shut for the remainder of her time over at the apartment and long afterward. And when she opened her hand, she found some baby teeth there. Oh yeah, and almost forgot. We also found some photographs that showed this relative along with Yoshie and a little girl who, if memory serves, is called Rika. And apparently they're not Sachiko. Again, going by the names that was on the photograph. Because, well, now I gotta wonder, if that wasn't Sachiko in the photograph, then who exactly was the little girl between the two women in that photo? Maybe we'll probably get a little bit more answers on that in this episode, but I highly doubt it. So let's just go ahead and start Chapter 1 proper. Blood Drive Chapter 1. Returning. By returning, you mean going back to Heavenly Host, right? A day had passed since the events at Shimorinjaku's South Apartments. This was to be a significant turning point for me, and Mochida might have been a part of it from the start. Except that fate seemed to have other plans for him. Miss Kuon, I have something pressing I need to get to, so if you'll excuse me. No, you sit back down. Satoshi, your score on the algebra quiz yesterday was rather embarrassing, don't you think? Like an owner training a puppy, Kuon gave him a strong glare and held up her index finger in reprimand. For the next hour, I'm going to give you a personal lecture, and you're going to listen. And then, the next quiz will be a snap to pass. Why couldn't you have kept up on your studies, Satoshi, so you could actually give me some backup in whatever I'm going to be facing next? You lazy git. But aren't you an English teacher? Isn't algebra a little outside of your field of expertise? Anything's possible if you put your mind to it. She seemed a little taken aback by that remark, puffing up her cheeks like a chipmunk in protest. But Miss Kuon. It's startling how alike she and Miss Yui are. I don't recall Miss Yui being able to summon helicopter goons to deliver lunchboxes on a dime. But who needs that when you have a cat? I'm sorry. Looking both bemused and guilty, Mochida tried to get up and leave his seat in one swift motion. But he was quickly and easily caught, lifted up and forcibly sat back down. Do you work out? Miss Kuon was smiling. She was actually enjoying this. Who or what am I dealing with here? A government spy that works out? Miss Kuon was only the slightest bit taller than Mochida. This did make her taller than the average, but her arms were small and frail. There seemed to be no way she could possibly have lifted someone of his build. Unless she has the spiritual powers to enhance her strength! And given this setting, who knows, but I think that's possible. Do you have some spiritual powers that we should be made aware of, Miss Kuon? Or do you just have some really concentrated but thin muscles in those arms of yours? This whole situation was rather bewildering for him, and he made no attempt to hide his confusion. Now, let's begin, shall we? Yes, ma'am. He had no other option. Apparently he was going to be studying algebra for the next hour, come hell or high water. And here we are at this restaurant again. Meanwhile, at a local cafe near the school, Kishinuma and I were sitting down to speak with Aiko Niwa, the informant who led my friends to me the previous night. Are you alright? Does your stomach hurt? I responded with a dismissive gesture while continuing to rub my abdomen with my other hand. Ever since the previous night, I had this constant, unbearable urge to pee. Did you never go to the bathroom after that whole fiasco? God damn it, it is like dealing with Yuka again. What the hell is wrong with me? I mean, I know I got really scared and I hyperventilated, but can that affect my body like this? Did it change something in me? You're just being a wimp. Go find a bush or something. Or a toilet. This is a restaurant. Maybe ask if you can use the toilet. My bladder feels like it's fit to burst. So, where shall we begin? Aiko tilted her head and stared at me, looking me up and down, seemingly judging my every mannerism, my every movement. It was making me feel really self-conscious. I covered my abdomen with both hands, as if guarding it from her gaze. Thank you for your help yesterday. Think nothing of it. I only regret that your friends couldn't get to you sooner. Kisaragi Academy is quite large, so it took some time to track down Kishinuma and the others. So what exactly are you hoping to get from Ayumi out of all of this? You've had some reason to just appearing to us like this. I don't think it's just to relay some information. Kishinuma and I stared at one another, still unsure how to feel about this strange new addition to our entourage.
Ayumi-chan, Kishinuma-kun. あなたたちって天神小学校の生還者よね?
Ayumi, Kishinuma, you two are survivors from Heavenly Host Elementary, are you not? Either she has some residual memory from the last game that I played, or she's very well informed somehow. We pledged never to discuss Heavenly Host with anyone else, which we always assumed would be an easy promise to keep. But now, casually and out of the blue, here we were.
なんであんたそのことを
Why? How do you know about that?
あなたたち死後の世界に接してきたでしょう。通常人間には身につかないオーラの色をしているわ。私には見えるの。
Well, you've been touched by the ever after. When people come into contact with the beyond, the color of their auras changes to something otherworldly. Something I can see. Both Kishinuma and I were speechless. I just sat there staring at my palm, subconsciously trying to see my aura, I guess. Aiko was smiling at us triumphantly. Okay, so...
愛子さんは霊能関係の情報屋でナホさんのお友達なんですよね。
Okay, so... You can apparently see that we have unique auras, because we survived a place like Heavenly Host. That still doesn't explain how you knew that we survived Heavenly Host Elementary itself in particular. You said you were an intelligence agent, wasn't it? Was it? For the supernatural? And you're a friend of Naho's?
ええ、ナホちゃんに天神小学校の情報を提供したのは私。
That's correct. I'm the one who tipped her off about Heavenly Host Elementary, in fact. So we have you as the unwitting instigator of doom in this whole saga. Well, I guess there's really no way you could have had any influence in Naho's actions, to be fair, but still. To think, this whole mess could have probably been averted if you hadn't brought up Heavenly Host to Naho. The true source of the deaths and subsequent erasures that had turned our lives to a living nightmare was the Sachiko Ever After ritual posted on Naho's occult blog. I've been a fan of Naho's for quite some time, so when I saw that, I knew I had to try it out with my friends from Class 2-9. And as a result, half those friends were now gone.
ナホちゃんがキビキ先生のために霊能探偵をやっていたことは知っているわよね。
I suppose you're aware that Naho was involved in supernatural investigations on behalf of one Mr. Kabiki, no? Well, that's kind of publicly available knowledge.
はい。幸せの幸子さんの情報が掲載されてから失踪されたことも。
I am. And I know she hasn't been, and that she hasn't been seen since posting information on Sachiko Ever After.
私はね、心霊スポットや霊能関係の情報を集めて、それを欲しがる人に有償で提供してきた。
Well, my business is of a similar nature. I gather data from spiritual hotspots and other supernatural locales, and sell that data to my clients for a fair profit.
報酬はお金、もしくは私の興味をそそる霊具の類。相手によってふっかけ方も変えるけれど。
Not always money, mind you. Sometimes I'll do my dirty work in exchange for a particular spirit item that perks my interest. It all depends on who I'm dealing with.
まあ、ギブアンドテイクよね。向こうは情報が欲しい。私はお金と霊具が欲しい。
It's entirely give and take. They want my information, and I want their cash. Or their artifacts. Physically, Aiko was a very attractive young lady. But personality-wise, the jury was still out. Her words were calculated and emotionless. Her true intentions a mystery.
だから私は情報屋をやっているの。ナホちゃんもいいお客さんだったわ。あの子が最後に買ったのが天神小学校の情報。
One could call me an information dealer, but I prefer intelligence agent. And Naho was a good customer. My info in Heavenly Host proved to be her last purchase, however.
ナホちゃん、これでキビキ先生の小説が なんとか賞を取れるってすごくはしゃいでた。
At the time, Naho was single-mindedly excited about Mr. Kibiki's work. She believed he could qualify for some award with the information I found for her.
ねえ、教えてくれる？あなたたちの閉じ込められたあの異空間にナホちゃんはいた？
Say, could you tell me? Was Naho there, in that other world you found yourselves trapped in?
ナホさんはキビキ先生と一緒に亡くなっていました。
Naho died, together with Mr. Kibiki. I looked down as I answered. Despite everything she'd done, the memory of Naho's passing was still painful for me. She'd become one of Heavenly Host's lost souls and gone completely berserk. In the end, I was the one who finished her off.
そう、やっぱりね。
I see. I assumed as much. Aiko seemed completely unaffected by this revelation. Her tone remained even and her expression cold and distant. Honestly, I'd had about enough of her by this point. She was so devoid of empathy, it was almost offensive. I was generally starting to get pissed off.
平気なんですか？
And you're okay with that?
残念だと思うわ。でも予想はついていたから、わざわざ取り乱す必要もないでしょ。
I do feel sorry for her, don't get me wrong. But I had a strong feeling that things would end this way. And yet you sold the information to her anyway, so that kind of makes you responsible for everything that happened afterward, doesn't it? There's no point in lamenting that for which I was fully prepared. Kishinuma continued to stare intently at Aiko with his own brand of cold, emotionless eyes. He was oddly quiet, though his anger was palpable. I clenched my fist.
じゃ、この子はおまじないを一緒に行ったと思うんだけど、あっちにはいたかしら。
What about this girl? I believe she performed the ritual alongside Naho. Did you see her there as well? Sayaka, I presume? Yep. Aiko showed us a photo of a girl named Sayaka Ue.
いえ、会ってないからわかりません。
No. I can't say I've ever met her, as far as you know.
そう。
I see. Aiko's expression was so unfaltering, you could carve it in stone. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to say something.
ナホさんのことお客さんだなんて、そんなの友達って言わないと思います。
If you're calling Naho your customer, I don't think you can really say you were her friend. My voice was breaking with rage. But even if that hadn't been the case, my face must have read like a book. This icy bitch may have had only one expression, but I sure didn't.
あら、あなたは客って言葉に対して随分と偏見を持っているのね。取引を行う以上、私はそこに最大の誠意とクオリティを提供する。
Oh my. Do you have something against that word? When I deal with my customers, I give them a guarantee of the utmost quality and dedicate myself to their satisfaction. I think you're kind of missing the point here.
つまりそれがパートナーとしての信用で、フレンドシップにも負けないものだと思っているけれど。
It's an unbreakable bond of trust, like one would have for a partner. And that's not always something you can say about friendship now, is it?
そんなこと。
That's... Yeah, well, I also want to point out that merchants can scam their customers, you know. Just because somebody's trying to sell you something doesn't necessarily mean that they have your best interests at heart. I had no idea what to say. It seems like Aiko was used to this sort of thing. Her response felt carefully rehearsed, like a sales pitch. Finally, Kishinuma broke his silence.
あんたよ。昨日篠崎を助けてくれたことは感謝する。けどよ、金やなんかの見返りのためにそんなろくでもない情報を拡散させるなんて旗迷惑だと思わねえのか。
Hey, I do want to thank you for helping us save Shinozaki yesterday. Really. But spreading dangerous information just to pay the bills. How the hell can you sleep at night?
情報は情報よ。それ自体に罪はないわ。道具と同じ。それをどう使うかは使い手の問題でしょ。
Information is just that. Information. It's harmless on its own. There's no good or bad. It's like a tool. It's up to the recipient how it's used.
その気になれば、その辺にあるコップでも人は殺せてしまうのよ。
Anything can be harmful in the wrong hands, after all. Why, that cup over there could be used to kill a man just as easily as any knife.
なもん、詭弁じゃねえかよ。
The hell it could! That's bullshit and you know it. No, she's right. I've seen, in fiction anyway, how coffee mugs could be used to kill people.
あなたもそう思う？あゆみちゃん。
Hey Yumi, do you agree?
愛子さん、ごめんなさい。私はあなたの考え方嫌いです。無責任だと思います。
Aiko, I'm sorry, but I hate the way you think. I feel it's irresponsible. Her expression remained calm and collected overall, but her eyes blinked several times in rapid succession. It was the first outward sign of emotion we'd seen from her.
やれやれ、ひどい嫌われようね。慣れてるけど悲しいわ。
Well now, it seems I've come to be regarded as something of a villain here. I can't say this is new or unexpected, but it never ceases to be disheartening. Maybe you should stop and ask why people keep constantly coming to that sort of conclusion about you. Aiko quickly shrugged off her sudden outburst and was back to her usual icy self.
天神症は俺らがぶっ壊してきたからいいけどよ。
It doesn't matter now anyway. We destroyed Heavenly Host. It's gone. Did we, though? An awkward tension filled the room. Or at least our table.
じゃ、本題に入りましょうか。私があなたたちに近づいた理由、伝えたいことについて。
Let's get down to business then. There's a reason I sought you out. Something I want to discuss with you. And what's that? Aiko produced a thick, hard-bound file folder from the light blue bag she'd brought with her. She opened it to reveal several documents of a questionable nature. Among them were what looked to be a family tree, as well as numerous pages featuring black magic symbology, or images that looked like tree branches.
黒魔術の文字対応表。篠崎家の家系図。
Black magic spell charts. And is that the Shinozaki family tree?
少しショッキングなことを伝えるわね。
You may find what I'm about to tell you a bit shocking. Can't be that bad. I've been through a lot of shocking shit so far with this series alone. Aiko was looking directly into my eyes now. Her gaze was fixed, intense and unblinking.
さっき岸沼くんが言ったことだけれど、間違いよ。
What Kishinuma said a moment ago is incorrect. You mean about Heavenly Host being gone? Yeah, I knew that.
Huh?
Because, I mean, if memory serves, all we really did was just get rid of Sachiko, the foundation of the school. All that ended up happening afterward was that the foundation ended up being replaced by one of the other ghost children instead. Huh?
何がだよ。
What do you mean?
天神小学校は壊れてなどいない。今もまだ存在し続けているのよ。
Heavenly Host Elementary has not been destroyed. It still exists, even now.
これを見て。
Take a look at this. Case in point, I believe you are the new foundation now, last I checked. Because your outfit ended up turning into a red dress last time we saw you at the end of book Blood Covered. Aiko placed a black and white photo on the table. It wasn't the clearest of pictures, but there was no doubt the location it depicted was Heavenly Host Elementary. In the picture, a small girl could be seen standing in one of those all too familiar hallways, holding a hatchet in her right hand. It's Heavenly Host.
なんだよ、これ。
Where did this come from? Dumb question to ask, but okay.
これは私が念写したものよ。力が足りなくて少し不鮮明ではあるけれど、今現在のあの空間。
We have confirmation then. It's a thoughtograph I've taken. Well, I can't think of a better name, so... Okay. I didn't have the power to produce a clearer image, but... This is the current state within Heavenly Host. She's holding a book. Let me guess. The Book of Shadows?
一体どういうことなんですか?
I don't understand. What am I looking at? I can't even describe what was going through my head at that moment. I felt like I was about to burst. Aiko, however, remained calm as ever while recounting her story.
順を追って説明するわね。まず、昨日の例の赤い箱だけれど、開けるとこのレーグが出てきたの。
Let's start at the beginning. First, the red box from yesterday. After some time, I was able to open it, and I found these spirit items contained within. The box I'd found on Mochina's futon. Inside it were, apparently, 2 stones resembling magatama, kama-shaped ceremonial objects from Japanese antiquity. Also included in the box were several more roughly hewn stones, as well as a lining along the edges consisting of crumpled pieces of thin white paper.
残念ながら箱の中でほとんど割れていたけれど、この一組は無事だったわ。
Unfortunately, most of the box's contents were broken or damaged. This pair, however, was still fully intact. Hey, looks like that little object in the game's logo. They looked like a demented version of yin and yang symbols. Puzzle pieces that were clearly built to be slotted together. Aiko now held 1 stone in each hand, and was motioning them toward one another as if to drive that point home.
レーグというのはね、簡単に言えば死者の思いが込められたもののことで、
Spirit items are, in the simplest terms, items which have been infused with the thoughts and feelings of the dead.
物に閉じ込められた霊、またはその生前の記憶が持つ者に永遠と泣き言を語りかけてくる愉快なものよ。
Those who bear such objects will be visited by the spirits within them, or at the very least be forever privy to their memories and earthly laments. It's a wonderful thing.
私はこう見えて無類のレーグコレクターでもあるの。
I may not quite look the part, but I'm actually quite an avid collector of spirit items. Kishinuma and I briefly locked eyes again. We shared the same look of bewilderment. Aiko's personality was much more twisted than either of us had initially perceived it to be.
この子の意志を読もうとするとね、呪わしい声と一緒におさげの少女や廃校の風景が見えてきたのよ。
I tried to get a fix on this little girl's thoughts. And in doing so, I heard a vengeful cry, and saw an image of a girl with braided hair in an abandoned school building.
で、気になったからこのカメラに。
The origin of that photograph, I presume. My curiosity having been piqued, I took out this camera. At this, she produced an old instant camera and placed it on the table in front of us.
私の念を写してみたの。それがその写真。
And tried to take a photo of the image in my mind. The result is that shot. Interesting. So, what I want to know is, what is an spiritual object like this doing in that apartment? And how does it seem to have a connection with Heavenly Host in particular?
私がこの霊具を使ってその時の今現在を念写したものよ。過去や未来の時間を超えた念写は私にはできないから。
This particular spirit item only allows me to produce images from the exact moment in time when the picture is taken. The past and future alike are beyond its reach. I examined the photograph in greater detail, and a chill ran down my spine. There was absolutely no denying what it depicted. No. I was actually shaking.
篠崎幸子を失ったあの学校は私たちが逆落ちで脱出した際に崩壊したはず。
Without Sachiko Shinozaki, the school should have collapsed. It should have ceased to exist as soon as we escaped.
でも寸前のところでとどまったってところかしら。私に語りかけてくる声の主がまだいるのかもね。
I believe the collapse was halted. Perhaps right on the brink even. Maybe because of the person to whom that voice I heard belongs. Aiko motioned toward the photo in my
例
hand.
えば写真の女の子とか誰かしらね、この子。
It could even be the girl in that picture. I wonder who she is. The answer was beginning to dawn on me. A sudden cold sensation exploded through my body and I shuddered, as if trying to shake off the encroaching realization.
くそ、あの地獄みたいな場所がまだ存在してるってのかよ。
God damn! You really think that hellhole was still around? Kishinuma leaned forward. The conversation was clearly beginning to engage him a lot more than it had been.
その天神小学校、いえ、学校の形をしたあの異空間だけれど、ナホちゃんに紹介した手前、私も気になって調べていたの。
Heavenly Host Elementary. Or rather, the dimensional space that took on the form of Heavenly Host Elementary. Fascinated me from the moment I introduced it to Naho.
あの異空間の正体はね、涅槃という死後の世界に近い磁場なのよ。
I began to research it independently, and learned that its true identity is, well, something like a new nirvana, a netherworld or hereafter, an otherworldly plane of death.
普通はこの世とは別の次元に存在するものなのだけれど、
Though ordinarily, one tends to think of there being only this world and the next.
ねは？
A new nirvana.
ええ、篠崎義恵については知っているわよね。
That's correct. You know about Yoshie Shinozaki, do you not?
はい。
Yeah.
篠崎の家、義恵の診療所に黒の本と呼ばれる魔導書、ブック・オブ・シャドウズがあったことも。
And of her clinic, the Shinozaki estate, wherein the grimoire known as the Book of Shadows was located. How do you know that?
はい。
Yeah. Why? How could she know about that? A million thoughts, A million questions were running through my head. I was speechless. All I could do was sit there and hear her out. What am I looking at here? It was a sound. It was like a muffled scream, or a moan of agony. The sound you make when you want to make a sound, but are barely able to. That one was a little more forceful. Accompanied by thrashing, it caused a nearby table light to fall over and roll along the ground. Please, dear. Calm now. You need to stay calm. This was Yoshie Shinazaki's clinic. And Yoshie herself was on top of her husband, holding him down with both of her hands. She continued her Shinto purification chant. To prevent Seiji from biting off his own tongue, he'd been gagged with a towel. Needless to say, he wasn't looking particularly well. Not far from where this was occurring, Sachiko stood aghast, trembling as she watched the proceedings with hesitant, sidelong glances. Izanagi no Okami, who visits the underworld and holds our foul spirits, guide us to the cleansing waters of the Tachibana on the Odo no Anigahara's shores in the land of Tsukushi. Is he possessed or something? Seiji, still collapsed on the floor, was clearly suffering. His body was bent into a most unnatural shape, and he was fervently clawing at his neck. I beseech thee, in the name of the divine virtues of the gods gathered here, to wash away the sins we've committed and the impurities that dwell within our minds and bodies. Sachiko's father screamed through his gag, foam beginning to froth out from its edges. He is going into cyanosis. Ghostly images of Shinazaki women from ages past smiled down upon the event from the ceiling, laughing and mocking his suffering. Worse still, some of the women had traditionally blackened teeth, giving their smiles an unintentionally sinister edge. The atmosphere within the room was heavy, as if spirits occupied every empty corner, dancing and flitting about freely and joyously. Seiji's body sharply bent and began convulsing. Come into this world, multinidus Okami of Haradio. Dear! Stay with me! Dear! Ah! Mio no Matima, I beg of you, please do not take him. Her great-grandmother, Seira, the head of the Shinazaki family, was among the black-teeth women laughing joyously at Seiji's suffering. Daddy! Daddy! His voice began to weaken, and his convulsions began to lose strength. Finally, the last spark of life had left his body. His eyes rolled back into his head and all movement ceased.
お父さん、息してないよ。
Daddy, why aren't you breathing? Sachiko looked up, eyes glazed over with tears. Yoshie, too, was stricken with grief and despair.
霊能力者の血筋篠崎の者と結婚した夫は必ず早々の死を遂げる。呪われた家の運命に抗えなかったヨシエは
This is what it means to be a Shinozaki. To be part of the cursed bloodline. All men who marry in it are guaranteed to die quickly. Not even Yoshie could circumvent that fate. Then maybe this should be a sign that you should all stop breeding, so this bloodline doesn't continue and more suffering is just brought on with each new generation. Just food for thought.
心ない者たちから守るよう篠崎の家に託されていた禁忌の本に手をつける。
So she turned to the forbidden book, an item she and her family had been protecting for generations from those who might misuse it.
それが黒の本、ブック・オブ・シャドウズ。
The grimoire, the book of shadows.
愛する者を失う。そのことを恐れるあまり黒魔術に頼ったの。まさに荒唐無稽でバカな話よね。
To lose a loved one was a fate she feared more than anything else. So she tried to offset it through black magic. It was an act of truly absurd foolishness.
ヨシエ自身もすがれるものなら
How do you know all this shit?
持っていなかったと思うわ。
As fascinating as it is, I'm more curious to know where you get your sources, what your sources are. She must have cared for him so deeply, she would have literally done anything to see him again, no matter the cost to her own immortal soul. Aiko stared deeply into my eyes, seemingly fishing for a reaction to her tale.
ところがまさか信じられないことが起こる。
But then, what happened next was almost beyond belief. I continued listening, unknowingly stroking the wound on my thigh as unpleasant memories of my own foolish run-in with black magic resurfaced.
ヨシエの体に流れる篠崎の血筋、その強い霊力に想像もつかない何かが呼応してしまった。
The Shinozaki blood that flowed through Yoshie's veins was more powerful than anyone could have known. Its energy spawned something much different than what Yoshie intended.
それは
By which, of course, I mean... Sachiko? I instantly no. Heavenly Host. I instantly knew what she was going
ヨ
to
シエの
say.
術で本の中から呼び覚まされた何か。
From the book she created,
涅槃
a new nirvana, which happened to take the shape of Heavenly Host Elementary.
未来永劫死者と共にいられる場所、死後の世界を切り取った空間がこの世に生まれてしまったの。
There, one could coexist with the dead for all eternity. It was a new dimension cut from the netherworld itself, forcibly born unto the world of the living.
ヨシエはもう半分正気を失っていたのね。一人娘の幸子を現世に残して、自分は夫の魂と共に生涯をそこで添い遂げようとした。
Yoshie must have lost half her sanity right there. She tried to leave her only child, Sachiko, in the real world, while living for her husband's soul in the new nirvana. Yikes. That's very unfortunate for Sachiko. But then, I gotta wonder then, why did she come back? Why did Yoshie come back? only to end up getting killed by, well, yeah. What's his his face? Maybe she had a change of heart. But then I gotta ask, who took care of Sachiko in the meantime then, when she was gone? The land of corpses.
ところが、涅槃には意志があり、ヨシエの手でコントロールできるものではなかったの。
However, this Nirvana had a mind of its own. Yoshie couldn't possibly control it. Shinozaki or no. I knew that all too well. Just like Yoshie, I experienced my own tragic failure of black magic at the Shinozaki clinic.
黒魔術には障害反動がある。夫の魂はバラバラに飛散し、ヨシエの命も消えかけた。
Black magic has its own blowback of sorts. Her husband's soul was split apart and scattered in all directions. And Yoshie's life too was on the verge of being snuffed out.
自分の愚かな行為を悔やみながら呼吸を止めようとしたその時。
She knew she'd made a mistake. She deeply regretted it. And as she took what she could only assumed to be her dying breath,
底なしに霊能力の強い一人娘幸子が涅槃を丸ごと体の中に飲み込んだの。
her sole daughter, Sachiko, in possession of a nearly limitless spiritual potential, absorbed the entirety of this new nirvana into her body. Really? So, where you're going with this then is the instant that Sachiko ended up being killed later on, this nirvana ended up getting released from her body somehow, right? And it formed, and it essentially took the shape of Heavenly Host Elementary, the location of her death. That's where you're going with this, I assume. Sachiko. The poor girl collapsed to the floor, violently thrashing about as the weight of an entire dimension crushed her from the inside. This action had saved her mother's life, certainly, but death surely would have been preferable. Picking herself up, Yoshie rushed to her daughter's side in tears.
Sachiko! Anata.
Sachiko! Sachi! Why?
お母さん死なないで、お母さん。
Mommy! Don't die, Mommy! Both parent and child were bawling, pain mixing with relief, mixing with pain again. The little girl buried her face into Yoshie's bosom and just cried and cried. Yoshie grasped her tightly in both arms, tears streaming down her face uncontrollably. By this point, Sachiko's body had begun producing a dark blue aura.
ごめんね、さっちゃん。ごめんね。お母さん間違ってた。
I'm sorry, Sachi. I'm so sorry. Mommy was wrong. You think?
お母さんにはあなたがいるわ。もうあなたを置いていこうだなんて思わないから。
Mommy has you. So from now on, Mommy will never leave you. She'll never even think of leaving you again. As you know, Sachiko is a direct descendant of the Shinozaki line. A thoroughbred.
ヨシエを超えるほどの霊能力を持っていたのね。涅槃を丸ごと体内に封じ込めるなんてものすごいことよ。
That means her power is greater than Yoshie's. It had to be, of course, for her to house an entire dimension within her body. Aiko took a big, noisy sip from her coffee mug.
当時ほとんど最強の霊能者だったんじゃないかしら。まだほんの小さな子供だったけれど。
At the time, she must have been the strongest practitioner of dark arts in all the world. Little girl or no.
でもその幸子が死んでしまって。
Yet despite that, she wound up dying.
そう。保健医吉江の転落事故と同時に幸子が行方不明になった。50年前のあの事件。
That's right. The same day Yoshie fell and died, Sachiko disappeared. The same fucking day! Yeah. I mean, that doesn't excuse a lot of the cruel murders and atrocities that she'd do in Heavenly Host herself throughout the decades, but holy shit, did Sachiko have a shitty childhood. Or at least very traumatic incidents, in parts of it anyway. Maybe most of it was okay. That was 50 years ago now.
あれは校長による殺人事件でした。
They were both killed by the principal.
やはりそうなのね。
Just as I
校
suspected.
長が余計なことをしでかしたおかげで幸子の中に吸い込まれて封印されていた涅槃が復活し、あの異空間天神小学校が生まれてしまったのよ。
The principal's heinous actions are to blame, then, for resurrecting the new nirvana within Sachiko, and creating the closed spaces we know as Heavenly Host. Your dick just caused so much suffering and misery for many people, you sick son of a bitch. It is definitely fitting, then, that you, too, wound up trapped within that place after your death. It's probably because the school was the site of Sachiko's violent demise that her nirvana took on its form. Makes sense.
とはいえ復活した涅槃も資料として蘇った幸子の力で再び抑制されて、やっぱりその支配下に置かれていたようだけれど。
Yet even then, with Sachiko reborn as a spirit in that realm, she was still all-powerful, seemingly continuing to exert complete control over it.
幸子がいろんな力を使えたのもその涅槃の影響だったのかしら。
I guess that's why she was able to manifest so many different horrible things in there. This was all starting to make a sick sort of sense. The pieces were falling into place, and painting an absolutely awful picture. I shuddered myself as I considered it.
現在はあなたたちが脱出の際に幸子を取り除いてしまったから、涅槃は再び暴走状態になっているのよ。
When you escaped, you removed Sachiko from the equation. But the nirvana remained, and is going berserk once more.
なくなってしまえばよかったのに。あんな危険な場所。
It should have just disappeared. This world would be better off without it. This entire conversation was a roller coaster of emotions for me. At this point, I was just angry. Angry at everyone involved in this whole ordeal, myself included.
さて、ここで少し突飛な話をするわよ。ついてきてね。
Now then, if I may, I'd like to discuss something a bit outlandish with you. Oh boy, I can't wait to see what this is about.
はい。
Okay.
死んだ友達にまた会いたい？
Would you like to see your dead friends again? I know she's going to say yes. And I am going to say yes, but no. I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record at this point, but this is just going to invite more tragedy. Like, again, I understand that everything about this is just a real shitty situation through and through for everybody involved. But at this point, unless you can just give me a very detailed plan one that's practically guaranteed to work, step by step, on how you could completely get rid of Heavenly Host in its entirety, along freeing all the souls trapped within there. I wouldn't even attempt to even go back there, let alone try to for any reason. It's just, you need the spiritual equivalent of a fucking nuke, as far as I'm concerned, in order to get me to willingly go back in there. That certainly got our attention. You all perked our heads up immediately.
涅槃で死んだ霊は成仏できずに囚われ続けるというわ。お友達の魂だってまだあそこにいるかもしれない。
Spirits that have died in the nirvana are said to roam its grounds, trapped and unable to find rest. As such, your friends' souls may still exist on that plane.
実はね、黒の本、ブックオブシャドウズにはいろんな魔術が書かれているの。
There are actually a number of useful magics listed in the Book of Shadows.
ヨシエの使った涅槃を生み出す術の他にも、反言の術というものもある。
Aside from the spell Yoshie used to create the new nirvana, there's also a spell of revival. Yeah, we tried that one. It didn't work out too well. At all. Nakashima and I knew about that one all too well.
命を無理やり戻すなんて敬虔な宗教家に言わせれば神のお示しに背く背徳の行為だと言われそうだけれどね。
Forcibly returning a life to this plane is, of course, dreadfully taboo, as it's considered an affront to the will of God by virtually all religious organizations.
Huh?
Kishinuma seemed a bit more confused than he probably should have been, though I suspect the look on my face may have had something to do with that. I performed that spell. The very one Aiko was describing. It took hours, failed miserably, and killed my sister. All at once, the guilt returned. I lowered my head sullenly. Aiko grinned at me, and I had the sinking suspicion it was because she somehow knew what I was thinking. Though I couldn't be sure, and I certainly didn't know how she would.
けれど、そんなものはクソくらいよね。冒涜も破壊も何でも来いよ。
Still, who cares about bullshit like that, right? Those of us who don't want to die a gruesome death, or be damned, that's who. You can be blasphemous. You can break every commandment. Bring it on.
死んだ友達を生き返らせたいんでしょ?
You'll do whatever it takes to resurrect your dead friends. No.
だったらあの本を探し出し、天神小学校でもう一度あの術を行えば、成功する可能性は飛躍的に上がるんじゃないかしら。
All you have to do is find that book and cast that spell once more within Heavenly Host Elementary. Your chances of success would be much, much higher there, don't you think? Higher success towards what? Ensuring the most horrific demise imaginable upon myself and God knows how many other people? Count me out! Which is, again, what I would like to say, but alas, you're gonna drag us right in there, aren't you, Ayumi?
おい、あんた何無責任なこと言ってやがんだ。またやばいことになったらどうすん。
Hold on. Do you have any idea what you're saying? What happens if things get even worse? I didn't exactly mean to interrupt Kishinuma, but quite honestly, I didn't even realize he was talking. I was too focused on what Aiko had just said.
あなたは知っているんですね。私と中島さんのヨシエの家での失敗を。
You know about it, don't you? Our failed attempt at Yoshie's place. Me and Nakashima. Yeah. Aiko tilted her head at me. that same wry smile creeping across her face. She'd gone from cold and emotionless to knowing and expressive in a mere instant.
あの時のことは夢幻だったと思っています。
I don't think we really believed what was happening to us. It was like a dream.
ありえないものを見て、ありえない体験をして、私はおかしくなっていたって。
What we saw was impossible. What we experienced was impossible. I thought I was going insane.
してはいけないこと。
I really don't see how you...
あんなこと、もう忘れたいの。
Honestly, given everything that you saw in Heavenly Host, I thought all the bullshit that happened inside the Shinozaki estate was pretty much child's play by comparison. Really shouldn't have been so unbelievable. At least I would think so. It shouldn't have been possible. We shouldn't have done it. I want to put all this behind me.
でも現実だった。
But it was real. Aiko pointed to the scar on my neck, then went one step further and lightly brushed it with her hand. I could feel that touch deep within my soul. I suddenly found myself swallowing my next breath, practically choking on thin air.
いい？人が本来触れることすらできない。世の常識の裏側にあなたは手を突っ込んだのよ。
See? You came in contact with something ordinary people could never even imagine.
今さら逃げられると思う？
Do you really think you could just turn tail and run from that now? I looked down again, trying my best to avoid Aiko's gaze.
私にそんなことが。
Do you really think I can do it? When I started crying, I raised my head again, intent upon looking deep into Aiko's eyes as she answered my question. But she looked so blurry through my tears. I could tell, though, that she was smiling at me. It was that same expression. Her new standard.
そんなこと？で、何？
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Can you be more specific?
みんな
Can I... really?
何？あなたの口からちゃんと聞きたいな。どうしたいの？
Yes, yes. What is it? I want to hear you say it. What exactly is it that you wish to accomplish?
生き返らせ。
Can I bring everybody back?
よく言えました。
Nicely done. Aiko patted my head, as one might a dog's after a successfully performed trick.
黒の本が生み出すのは魔女の英知。
You're gonna end up pissing Yoshiki off at this
運
rate.
命をもねじ曲げる力。
What the grimoire produces are miracles spawned from the wisdom of the witches. And these miracles hold the power to bend fate.
たとえそれが確定した運命であろうともね。
Even if that fate is set in stone, so to speak.
あなたは強力な霊能者の家系、篠崎家の末裔。日野江さんがいない今、これはあなたにしかできないことかもしれない。
You are a descendant of the house of Shinozaki, a family of immensely powerful practitioners of magic. And since Hinui is no longer with us, this is something only you can do. My confidence was being bolstered by the minute, though in retrospect that was likely Aiko's aim. Nevertheless, if there was still something I could do for my friends... Why are you helping me? What do you gain out of this?
だけど考 肝心のブックオブシャドウズがどこに行ったのかもわからないし、それに。
But wait, I don't even know where the Book of Shadows is anymore. Plus,
幸子を失った天神賞には幸せの幸子さんのおまじないではもう行けない？
you're no longer able to travel to Heavenly Hosts by way of the Sachiko in the Ever After ritual. Now that Sachiko is gone. Correct?
そうだと思います。あの学校で
Yeah, that's right.
女の子に聞きました。
That's what Yuki said anyway. Yuki Kano, a girl from the school. Aiko once again placed the bluish-white Magatama stones from the box in either hand, this time fitting them together, though not quite the way they were supposed to interlock.
そこでこれよ。
That's where these come in.
それは一体。
What are they?
ものすごい霊力を持ってる。さすが篠崎の霊具ね。声が教えてくれたわ。
They house an exceptional amount of spiritual energy, as one would expect, given their spirit items from the Shinozaki line. The voice I heard told me about them.
これは幸せの石。
They're called Ever After Stones.
幸せの石。
Ever After Stones? I leaned forward to spite myself. The name sent a shiver down my spine, but now that I'd heard it, I had to know more.
この石は2つで1つなの。これをパズルのようにくっつけて、涅槃よ、死人を迎えよと唱えれば、触れているものみんながいつでも天神小学校へ飛べるわ。
These two are one. Fit them together like puzzle pieces and chant Nirvana, I summon the dead. And all who are in direct or indirect contact with them will be spirited away. We both flinched at her chant, but Aiko just smiled. She must have intentionally oriented the stones the wrong way so the charm wouldn't activate.
戻る時も同じ。
It's the same when you return. She tossed the stone she'd been holding in her right hand into her left, where it clacked together with the other.
不思議でしょ？この子が教えてくれたのよ。この方法。
Strange, isn't it? This girl taught me the technique herself. Aiko gazed longingly at the stones. She was clearly utterly enamored by them. It seemed as if they were the key factors in unleashing her newfound emotional expressiveness. But my focus was elsewhere. Without a doubt, the items Aiko now held in her left hand were extraordinarily dangerous. Probably the most dangerous, horrific objects in the entire world. However, you're gonna use them anyway. While Aiko was ogling them with her left hand, her right was feeling around for something in her breast pocket. She slowly removed it, producing an old black and white photograph. When had she taken that? It was the same photograph I'd seen at Makina Shinozaki's house the previous night. It depicted a young Yoshie, along with her mother, and Makina.
10代だった篠崎義恵は、おばのマキナのことを慕って、よく家に遊びに行って。
Oh, now I see the resemblance. You do look like a young Yoshie. When Yoshie was in her teens, she adored her aunt Makina, and would often go over to her place for a visit.
世界的に有名な霊能師の家系である篠崎家。ここならと。
The Shinozaki family, world famous for their spiritual abilities. And this was when it all started.
ヤゴーラ教会の生き残り。ヤゴーラの沖縄が危険だからとマルトバから盗み出してきたブックオブシャドウズを預けに来たんだけれど。
The surviving elder of the Yagura Society felt it was too dangerous to leave these items with the Matsubas. So he came here, intending to steal the Book of Shadows away from them.
それが揃うと危ないからと、石はマキナが。 本はヨシエが預かって保管することに決めたそうよ。
But he felt it would be even more dangerous for the book and stones to remain together. So while he gave the book to Yoshie for safekeeping, he gave the stones to Mochida. Yogura Society. Martubas. I never heard these terms before at all. And then there was that damned Book of Shadows again. Why did that have to keep coming up?
あなたたちはあの学校から篠崎幸子を取り除いた。それによって大きな可能性が広がったわ。
Dear Lord, we've been at this for an hour and 10 minutes, and there's still no end to this in sight. This is quite the long introductory cutscene for this chapter, I gotta say. Oh shit, I saw the lights flicker. I hope I don't lose power. That would be very unfortunate. You removed Sachiko Shinozaki from that school. And in doing so, you created the perfect storm of opportunity.
これまでのような一方通行ではなく、現世に戻ってくることができる。この世のものではない異空間心霊スポットが生まれているの。
Two-way travel to and from that dimension is now possible. It's no longer a one-way road. A new spiritual hotspot, something not of this world, has been born. She thrust the ever-after stones toward me triumphantly and continued to make her pitch, growing more excited by the second. I was legitimately speechless. What could I say? No? You could say no, thanks?
わかるかしら。まさにあの場所は宝の山よ。
Don't you see? That place is a gold mine.
これまで眉唾、嘘800と笑われていた霊魂の世界への扉が開いたの。世界中のオカルト研究が一気に加速するわ。
People can no longer claim the world of spirits is fake, or that spiritual investigators like myself are lying. It's all different now. Occult research can be legitimized.
私はね、商売としてあの空間へ人を連れて行くツアーコンダクターをやろうと思うの。
I'm even considering bringing people to that cursed dimension on tour if I can, to make a little extra cash. Now that is the definition of irresponsibility right there. Kishinuma and I both reacted to this preposterous suggestion with a start. She couldn't possibly be serious. Could she?
ナホちゃんのブログからは片白のデータは削除したし、あの手段ではもう飛べない。行く方法は私しか持っていない。
I deleted the proxy doll data from Naho's blog, so no one will be able to jump that way anymore. But what does it matter if the charm doesn't work anyway now that Sachiko's gone? Only I possess the means to enter that place now. What could she possibly have been thinking? I wanted to stop her at once. I wanted to take those stones and break them right there on the spot before anyone else got hurt. That'd be the smartest thing you could possibly do in this situation. But
私はね、ツアーを運営するにあたって安全を確保したいの。
When I begin conducting these tours, however, I want to make customer safety my top priority. Fucking how? This is Heavenly Host we're talking about.
あゆみちゃんはお友達の霊を探したいでしょ？だったらあの空間の再調査は共通の目的にならないかしら。
And you seek your friends as spirits, do you not? Well, reinvestigating that dimension could help you reach that goal. Our destinations are the same, Ayumi. I think that you are playing me for a fool. Just like Blondie. Aiko leaned in as she spoke. Her breath, scented of the sugary sweetness of the extravagant desserts we'd been eating, tickled my nose.
ね、あゆみちゃん。私と一緒にもう一度天神小学校に行ってくれない？
So what do you say? Let's go back to Heavenly Host Elementary together. one more time. Shall we?
本来は片白を引きちぎる方法でツアーをやろうと思っていたんだけど、こんな便利なアイテムが見つかっちゃったんだもの。これはもう運命よ。
I really wanted to...
私やるわ。商売にする。
I really wanted to conduct tours using the paper dolls, but missed my chance. Now, though, I have these lovely stones. I feel this must be fate, and I can make a business of it. One problem, Aiko. You yourself have just mentioned that the paper method, back when Sachiko was still existing inside this Nirvana, made the trip a one-way trip. So, how the hell would you have even been able to gotten yourself and any would-be tourists out there to begin with? Aiko seems like she was on top of the world. But that just made me all the more disgusted with her.
どうかしら。
So how about it? On the other hand, she was offering me a chance to save our lost friends. And however remote that chance may have been, it stacked the odds frustratingly in her favor. I still couldn't just say yes, but I also couldn't say no. Honestly, I resented Aiko for putting me in this position. I glared at her for a moment before I said anything.
すぐに答えを出せるわけがないでしょ。考えさせてください。
I can't answer that right now. Give me some time to think it over. I'd almost forgotten Kishinuma was there. I haven't. Unlike you, I place more importance on him in regards to my headspace. Unlike you, sudden waves of guilt washed over me. He had an absolutely incredulous look on his face. Can you fault him? I couldn't bear to see it, so I looked away.
ブックオブシャドウズだってどこにあるかわからないし、そもそもその石だって本当にそんな力があるかもわからないじゃないですか。
We don't know where the Book of Shadows is anyway. Plus, how do we know these stones can actually do what you say they can? Good questions.
試したわけじゃないのでしょ。
There's no way you could have already tried it, right? Aiko smiled. She oriented the stones so they'd form a perfect yin-yang symbol, then slotted them together once again. Immediately, the stones began glowing a bluish-white hue, and a stream of energy started to form around her.
マジかよ。
You gotta be kidding me! Aiko continued smiling and looked directly into my eyes.
いいわ。ゆっくり考えて。この石はもちろんまだ試していないから、どれだけ危険かわからないしね。
No need to decide now. Think it over. Yes, it's true. The full range of these stones' power has yet to be tested. So their true danger is as of yet undetermined. She slowly separated the two stones as she said this, and the energy surrounding her dissipated.
篠崎家の血筋、篠崎真希の家で発見されたんだもの。きっと信憑性も霊言も新たかな霊具に違いないわ。
But they're from the home of Makina Shinozaki, a prominent branch of the Shinozaki tree. Their authenticity and the credibility of my intelligence is hard to dispute. I still dispute it regardless. Just because.
すげえな。ちょっと見せてくれよ。
Hell of a thing. Can I see them? If you're gonna break them, cheers. Just what? No, cheers doesn't work in this context. Just good on you, Yoshiki. Break them! Kishinuma didn't wait for an answer. He grabbed the Ever After stones from Aiko's hands and began examining them
あの
carefully.
箱の中にこんなものが入ってたとはな。
Hard to believe this was in that box.
あんたさ、まさかこの石を独り占めしようなんて考えてねえよな。
You weren't planning on keeping these stones all to yourself, were you? Given everything she was just monologuing about tourism to the Nirvana and such, I would say yes, she definitely was thinking that. Aiko seemed taken aback by the question. Way to go, Kishinuma. You managed to catch her off guard.
これを見つけられたのは半分は篠崎が体張ったおかげなんだろ。
Half the credit for finding them is due to Shinozaki risking her skin, after all. Aiko seemed to ponder these words for a moment.
じゃあお互い勝手に行けないように一つずつ持っていましょうか。
Well then, let's make sure neither of us can go by ourselves. We'll each keep one of the 2 stones.
わかりました。ちょうだい、岸沼くん。
Alright. Give me one, Kishinuma.
おう。
Sure thing. Kishinuma plopped one of the stones in my hand, then slipped the other back into the drawstring pouch Aiko had brought them in and closed it up. There. He then casually handed the pouch back to its rightful owner.
その気になったら連絡をちょうだい。そうね。サービスとしてブックオブシャドウズの捜索は私も手伝ってあげるわ。無料で。ね。
Feel free to give me a call anytime you like. And don't worry, I'll even help you find the Book of Shadows. Free of charge. Okay, now I definitely know for sure that you are plotting something big with this whole thing other than what you're telling me. Because for as long as I've known you, you don't exactly do anything for free. Aiko flashed us the biggest, most gregarious smile I think I'd ever seen.
あの本さえ見つかれば一緒に行ってくれるのよね、あゆみちゃん。
And when we do find it, you will go with me, won't you, Ayumi? I closed my eyes and gave something like a half-hearted half-nod, lowering my head without raising it again. It was interpreted as a yes, but I'm not sure I meant it that way.
ぐっと。じゃあ、ここは私が出しておくわね。
Good. That being the case, it's on me today. Aiko got up and grabbed the check.
いえ、私も出します。
No, I'll pay for mine. I took out my wallet. I had no desire to owe this person anything. Aiko just smiled.
それじゃ割り勘ってことで。
Dutch it is then.
そうそう。これは私からのプレゼント。
Oh yes, I almost forgot. I'd like you to have this. Now what? Aiko handed her thoughtograph to me.
嫌だわ。そんなに構えないで。これは無料で差し上げるわ。だ
Now,
から
now.
安心して。
It's not going to bite you. And I'm not asking any money for it, so please, just take it with my blessing. An hour and 23 minutes and we finally see some actual gameplay. I despise her.
ああ。
Me too.
鈴本さんや篠原さん、森重くん、ゆい先生、みんなのことが終わったら、この石はすぐに壊すから。
Suzumoto, Shinohara, Morishige, and Miss Yui. As soon as I'm done with those 4, I'm breaking this stone. The smart thing for you to do would be to break it now, but...
おう。
Again, I hate to sound like a broken record.
両方ともぶっ壊す案だがな。
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Don't entertain this shit, man! Better make sure you break the other one too, though, while you're at it. As if he'd been waiting for this cue, Kishinuma pulled the other stone from his pocket.
岸沼くん？
When did you sneak that? Kishinuma?
あの学校のヤバさも知らねえで浮かれてやがったからな。 こっそりいただいてきたぜ。
She doesn't know what it's like in that school. I mean, she was actually getting excited about going there. So I helped myself when she wasn't looking.
岸沼くん、すごい！悪い人？
Kishinuma, that's amazing. You're terrible. Well, yeah, you're terrible, but it'd be, you know what would be even more terrible? Going through with this.
緊急事態によりやむなしだ。けどよ、篠崎。こう言っちゃなんだが、生き返らせるとかその。
Hey, serious business calls for serious action. Though, Shinozaki, I don't know how to say this exactly, but about the whole resurrection thing.
鈴本たちのことはもう考えない方がいいんじゃねえか。
The whole situation with Suzumoto and the others should probably just be left alone, don't you think? I agree! Thank you for proposing
無
this.
茶ばっかして、お前がまた死ぬ思いするとかよ。鈴本も結衣先生も篠原も森重もみんなよ、そんなこと望んでねえと思うんだ。
You've gone through so much already, and have come really close to dying. And I don't think any of them, not Suzumoto, Miss Yui, Shinohara, or Morishige, would want that. Listen to him! He is speaking sense!
でも、そうじゃないかもしれない。
But that might not be true. Oh, so you think that they want... So you actually think that they want you to come back into that hellhole and risk dying again? You mean trapped there with them?
いい加減にしろ、篠崎。鈴や中島がどんだけお前のこと心配してると思ってんだ。
Damn it, Shinozaki, just stop! Do you know how much Satoshi and Nakashima have been worrying about you?
ごめんなさい。
I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Don't do it!
お願い、岸沼くん。もう少しだけでいいから、私の気の済むまでやらせて。お願い。
But Kishinuma, please, you have to understand. What's there to understand? You feel an overwhelming sense of survivor's guilt. But again, this is far from an ordinary situation. We're talking about freaking nirvanas and shit. Leave it be. I hate to sound so unempathetic about this, but Jesus, seriously, everybody has suffered enough. I just need a little more. I need you to humor me for just a little bit longer, okay? Please, just let me do this.
Hey. よー、いいか。一人じゃダメだぞ。こっちは俺が預かっとくからな。
Fine. But listen. You're not doing it alone. I'm going to keep one of the stones. You're tremendously stupid for letting her go through with this anyway, but at least thank you for making sure that she doesn't go alone. Okay.
大丈夫だ。
It'll be alright, you know. I turned my gaze to meet Kishinuma's. My eyes must have looked like saucers. Windows into a mind full of worries, ideas, and fears spurred by this unexpected turn of events.
なんかあったらすぐ連絡しろよ。前みたいに目つぶって突っ走って、勝手に死にそうになってんじゃねえぞ。
If anything happens, don't hesitate to call me, okay? I'm here for you. And I don't want you blindly rushing to dangerous situations like you did yesterday.
俺だって、お前一人くらい守れる自信はあんだからよ。
I may not be able to offer much, but I'm confident I can at least protect you from harm. Kishinuma patted me on the head reassuringly as he said this, and I had no idea how to react. Just a simple thank you would be enough. I felt warm and safe, but also a little annoyed, much like a younger sister being simultaneously comforted and scolded by her big brother. All I could say in response was, okay. You should say thank you. I could feel my eyes still bulging from my head, opened as far as my eyelids would allow. I imagined how I must have appeared to Kishinuma and was momentarily embarrassed.
んじゃ、そろそろ帰るとするか。
Come on now. Let's get you home. Okay. Holy shit. An hour and a half, and I finally have control of the game again. Ready to head home? Not just yet. Really know when you're good to go. Hey, so who the hell are you? He's late. Seriously, what is he thinking? That boy needs a boot to the head, I swear. Boot to the head. That will always be one of my favorite YouTube anythings. Can I? Okay, I guess I got... It's not instantaneous recovery. But, yeah, I don't see why it should be. That would just break the game quite a bit. I remember running up these stairs with Maya Suzumoto. At the time, it never dawned on me that the legitimacy of those memories could ever be called into question. Why would it? When you graduate, transfer, or get married, you're always still able to see one another as long as you're both alive. But in this reality, it's as if Suzumoto never even existed. An unexpected little secret I just found. I guess it really does pay to explore. In this game, at least. Where are all the people? The streets seem unusually quiet. That is a good question. Is it just because of the late hour? Maybe I should take this as an ominous sign. I don't need anything right now. You sure? I think you need a better brain. Alright, let's go. Come on then. Let's go.
Tadaima.
Can I please get to a safe spot? I'm home. Welcome back.
今日の変死速報です。死亡した岡部さんは背骨が折れた状態で都内のこの場所で発見され、
News of yet another bizarre death has just come in. This time a Mr. Okabe who was discovered within the city at this location, having suffered a broken spine. Whatever the hell kind of spirit's responsible for this, apparently they love breaking people's spines. Then maybe it's a good thing that Ayumi... No, wait, no. She has enough of a spine to go through going back in that place, so it wouldn't work. So, never mind. I thought I had a joke. Turns out I didn't. A Tokyo map was displayed on the television screen, marked with 2 red dots. The marquee at the bottom provided the headline, "Sudden violent deaths remained unexplained." Dinner will still be a while yet. Maybe you should take your bath first, Ayumi. Okay. Without thinking, I left the socks I just removed from my feet on the living room floor and began walking toward the bathroom. Don't just leave your socks on the floor. Hey! Socks!
うん。
Ah. This was a bad habit of mine, so ingrained within me that it almost became ritual. Mom did well to have it caught so quickly. I grabbed my socks and left the room.
みんなの魂がいる天神症でブックオブシャドウズを使えば
Given all
生き返らせることができるかもしれない。
Given the rest of your habits, I think this is a very trivial thing in all due seriousness, so whatever. Can I really bring them all back? I would say no. If I use the Book of Shadows inside Heavenly Host this time, it just might work. I set my bag down in my room, quickly and automatically grabbed my sweatpants and spats, and made a beeline for the bathroom. Yeah, you still got those scars on your neck. Please let there be a candle in here. When I got there, I threw my socks into the hamper with purpose, then began peeling off my school uniform. As I observed myself in the mirror, I began to murmur.
障害反動。もしあれがまた起こったら。
Blowback. If I'm not careful, the same thing could happen again. Those burn marks on my neck and arms were eternal reminders of what I'd been through at the Shinozaki estate. I could clearly remember the agony I went through as they'd formed. I remember watching them sear into my flesh out of thin air, blood spurting from them as if I'd been knifed. Naomi survived because Hinui sacrificed herself in my place.
やるしかないじゃない。
I have to do it. I tried to force self-confidence into my expression. When it wouldn't come, I slapped my cheeks hard. It was in me somewhere. It just needed to be yanked out into the
あな
open.
たが頑張るのよ。
Do your best, damn it. This is the most amount of skin I've seen on anybody in this game. Perhaps some of you find that titillating. I lowered my head into the water ever so slightly, blowing bubbles in the water with my mouth. The pros and cons of returning to Heavenly Host were racing through my head. Me, personally, I can think of almost nothing but cons.
奇跡の力。確定した運命に挑む力。篠崎の末裔。私がやらなきゃいけない。みんなを生き返らせてみせるわ。
This is the power. To challenge fate itself. To rewrite it. And I'm a Shinozaki, so... This is something only I can do. Had to show everyone that I can bring them back.
ブックオブシャドウズのありかさえ分かれば、すぐにでも。
If only I knew where to find the Book of Shadows. I need to get my hands on it again.
ブックオブシャドウズのありかだ。
Peeper!
相変わらずずれた感性してやがんな。
You're seriously going to look for the Book of Shadows? Your lack of sense never ceases to amaze me. Do you like just watching people take baths and then insulting them out of the blue? You freak. This was just about the last thing I expected. I couldn't help but scream. It was that same boy who found his way into my room last time, wearing the exact same clothes. Do you not have any other clothes? He spoke to me without once turning his head to look in my direction.
涅槃を知ったか。やっと悟ったようだな。てめえの宿命ってやつを。
So you know about the Nirvana now. You finally pieced it all together and realize what you have to do. Who the fuck are you? What's your stake in this? He smiled, still facing away from me. It was a confident yet sinister grin.
あなた、なんでここに？
Why? Why? And how?
音響のまじないなんて基本中の基本だろうが。いちいち驚くんじゃねえよ。
Hiding one's presence is about as basic a spell as they come. What, you got spiritual powers or something? There's no need for the blown gasket.
それよりもだ。忘れんなよ、それ。運命に課せられたてめえの責務だからな。その末裔ってとこ。
As for why I'm here, it's to remind you. Remind you who you are and what you have to do. Your bloodline carries with it a certain responsibility, after all. And I would like to humbly decline that responsibility.
あなた、
You?
あ
Hmm?
警察呼ぶから、この変態、ストーカー扱う！
Pervert! Stalker! Molester! I'm calling the cops! My face had to have been as red as fire by this point.
うるせえよ、この父なし女が。誰が痴漢だ。幼児みたいな体しやがって。てめえみたいな貧相な体、見てもなんも面白くねえんだよ。
Shut the fuck up, titless. Who you calling a pervert when you got the body of a grade schooler? So you were checking her out. Ain't nobody gonna want to see a washboard like that. I hope you have a spell that's good for dodging, because you might need it. My head felt like it now housed all the blood from my entire body. I imagined myself white as a sheet below the neck, and flashing red above it on the verge of a megaton explosion.
いいか、よく聞け。ブックオブシャドウズは涅槃の中に戻ってる。てめえが篠崎家で失敗したあの時にな。
Just listen up. The Book of Shadows is back in the Nirvana. It happened when you messed up at the Shinozaki estate. And how do you know this? Have you been talking to Aiko?
ほら。
Here. He handed me a photograph from Aiko.
いつの間にこれが何だっていうのよ。
When did you? What are you trying to pull?
よく見ろ、節穴女。ここだ、ここ。
Just look at it, you blind bitch. Here. Right the fuck here. I grabbed the photograph from his hands, as aggressively as I could muster, then backed away slightly, putting as much distance between me and him as humanly possible. It was definitely the same picture of the little girl holding the hatchet that Aiko had shown us earlier. But now I noticed that she was holding something in her other hand, too. It was a hardbound book, around the size of a typical desk dictionary. And though I could barely make it out, there was a certain aura to it that looked an awful lot like a face.
これは
God, it is.
力を使いたいなら、もう一度涅槃部屋。天神小学校と言った方がいいか。すぐにあそこへ飛んでその本を手に入れろ。そうすりゃ。
If you want to use its power, you gotta go back to the Nirvana. Or should I say, back to Heavenly Host. Jump over there and get the book, and then maybe, just
お前
maybe,
の願いも叶う。
you can make your wish come true. You know about her wish, then. Yeah, I wonder, are you and Aiko working together by chance? Because that would definitely explain... That could be one explanation for how you know. Otherwise, if you really do have an invisibility spell, then you could have just eavesdropped on their entire conversation. So the real question I gotta ask is, are you and Aiko actually working together? Or are you both just working towards your own ends here? Because it's undeniable that you definitely know the full scope of what they're planning. He stuck out his hand and pointed directly at my face, then slowly lowered it down towards my abdomen. He was now inexplicably pointing at my lower body. But as soon as I started to get self-conscious, he flipped his hand over and opened it, exposing his palm. There was another piece of 10 yen gum cupped there, the same kind as before. I'm not sure why I took it, but I did, without even thinking. He could have charmed it or something! As soon as the exchange was made, he immediately turned toward the bathroom window, apparently preparing to make his escape.
あなた何者なの？どうして私に？
Who are you? And why me? My questions seemed to stop him in his tracks. Aren't you going to explain all this? I wasn't about to drop my guard, especially given the obvious advantage this boy had over me. But he didn't seem like he'd come to attack me or anything. Rather, it was almost like he was trying to lead me somewhere. Show me the way. Hey, I just had a thought. Maybe you and Blondie are working together. It seems like everybody's trying to lead Ayumi along the nose here, so for all I know, everybody is conspiring together
今はまだ話
to lead Ayumi by the nose. I can't answer that just yet. And why not? He turned his head toward me just enough that I could catch a brief glimpse of the eyes beyond his hood. They were ice blue in color, but gentle and sincere. He smiled once more as he leapt out the bathroom window. You know, I just had a thought. Where's your mother? I mean, didn't she hear you scream earlier? I was kind of dumbfounded. I had no idea how to process what had just happened.
どうしたの、あゆみ？大丈夫？
What the fuck took you? I've been talking to this asshole for like 6+ minutes! What's wrong, Ayumi? Are you okay? Mom barged into the bath, brandishing a broom. It was probably the first thing she could find with which to fend off potential intruders. Too bad she hadn't been just a moment quicker. Try minutes quicker! All I could do was squat on the cold bathroom floor and stare at her with hollow eyes. There was no way to actually explain any of this to her. Oh my god! Please! Give me a candle! It was late at night, and I still hadn't bothered changing out of my school uniform. I needed food though, so I decided to hit up the convenience store on my way back home. I picked up a bottle of olives, a pack of tofu, some mineral water, and other various things to keep me going for a while.
なんだこりゃ。
The hell's this? I could hardly believe it. There was actually an occult section at the damned mini-mart, with all kinds of stupid stuff, like spirit talisman magnets and anti-demon wards. What a coincidence that there happened to be a little occult section in a mini-mart, of all places, just when it looks like you are about to make a trip to Heavenly Host. I'd say it's almost a conspiracy. I grabbed one off the shelf at random and looked at the company logo on the back side. PL Promotions Co. Incorporated. For these last 2 months since we'd gone back from Heavenly Host, it seemed like there was a real spiritual boom going on all over the world. Whenever there'd be a strange death or something, the public would be all over it, downright excited about the possibility that it might be supernatural in nature. It was all over TV shows and magazines too, with independent researchers checking out spiritual hotspots and giving fancy new age advice to people, just to boost ratings or sales. Thank God I didn't have a bottle of water before recording this episode. This is ridiculous. And now this. exorcism merchandise next to prepackaged cupcakes and ready-made dinners.
コンビニでお札が買える時代かよ。
Get your talismans at the corner store now, huh?
ちょっと前までならこんなもの見ても気持ち悪いって笑えたんだろうけど、今じゃそんな風に笑えなくなっちまったな。
Not too long ago, I'd have made fun of all this crap. Guess it's not such a laughing matter anymore, though.
こんなの本物相手に聞くのかよなんて思うようになるとは。
Never thought I'd see the day when I'd pick up one of these things and wonder if it actually works. The item I was examining happened to be the spirit talisman magnets. One of the spirit's talisman magnets. Seemingly the last one in stock. Don't you harumph me, I'm just browsing the shit. I haven't bought anything yet. An old lady suddenly reached around me from behind and yanked it right out of my hands. What? Lady? She glowered at me for a moment before taking her prize over to the register. Bitch! I had that first! And I just stood there, staring blankly at her as she walked away. Thief! The hell? Thank you very much. Oh wait, did I get one after all, or... Either I misread that scene, or he somehow managed to find another one. Knowing me, it's probably the former. Ah, shit, I should have looked around a bit first. God damn it, I really should have looked around first. There might have been a candle nearby. Fuck! Kishinuma?
No, 篠崎。何してんだこんな時間に。家に帰ったんじゃねえのかよ。
Shinozaki, what are you doing here this late? I thought you went home.
ごめんね。こんな遅くに。アルバイト?
I did. Sorry to accost you like this. You just get off work?
ああ、今日は遅番だったからな。で、まさかずっと待ってたのか?
Yeah, I had the late shift today. Wait, don't tell me you've been waiting here for me this whole time, have you? Man, I'm really sorry.
平気。
Well, it's not your fault that you had the late shift. No, it's fine. It was actually a really chilly night. I could see Shinozaki's breath dissipating around her chin in short, frequent bursts.
平気じゃねえだろ。震えてんじゃねえか。嫌じゃなければ寄ってけよ。茶くらい出してやる。
It's not fine at all. You're shivering. You can come in if you want. I'll get you some hot tea or something. Thanks. Candle? My room was on the second floor of the apartment building. I hadn't been expecting guests, but I had just tidied up for my own sake a little while back, so it was fairly presentable. Shinozaki immediately sat down on my bed and began sipping the tea I'd made for her. She was holding it in both hands, probably less for politeness and more just to warm them up. This is really good. So good, in fact, it looks like it's bringing you to tears.
だろ? 妹がいつも送ってくんだよ。いい茶話。
Isn't it? It's from my sister. She sends it to me all the time. Says it's made from really good leaves. The sound of a large truck driving by seemed to catch her off guard. She was clearly a bit jittery. Unsurprising, all things considered.
こんな時間まで工事してるんだ。
They do construction at this hour?
ああ、年末近くになるとこういう意味のない工事増えるな。 うるさいわ眩しいわで寝れやしねえよ。
Yeah, when it gets close to the end of the year, they do all kinds of pointless work out there. It's like this every night. I've been sleeping like crap because of it.
大変。
Sounds really annoying. Sip. Time passed us by at a snail's pace. Shinozaki continued to sip her tea, never once removing either hand from the warm cup. She definitely had something on her mind. Something had happened. It was written all over her face.
親に断ってきてんのか?
Are you fighting with your parents or something?
ううん。連絡は大丈夫。
Uh-huh. So, I read that totally backwards. Oh, don't worry. They know I'm here.
そうか?
They do? Yeah. Shinozaki was in my room. I dreamed about this before, but never thought it would actually happen.
罰か。なんだな。
Now, don't get ahead of yourself. I think she's here strictly for business. Okay, but...
いや、その...
well,
どうしたんだよ、こんな遅くに。なんかあったのか?
I just kind of want to know, like, what are you doing here this late? Did something happen?
あのね。
You could say that.
はあ? 今から天神賞に行くだ?
Seriously? You want to go back to Heavenly Host right now? Right now?! Without any proper preparation? At least I'm assuming that's gonna be the case this time too. Please tell me you're bringing like a shit ton of charms or something. I was half acting, as admittedly this wasn't entirely unexpected. Shinozaki may be a lot of things, but unpredictable is not among them. You and I agree 100% on that.
お願い。
Please?
で、この石を取りに来たのか?
So you came here to get the stone from me. I took out the Ever After stone I'd stolen from Aiko.
いいか、篠崎。確かにこの石はさっき光ってたし、何か力はあるかもしれねえ。だがよ、もう一度あそこに行ったところで何をどうできるんだ?
Come on, Shinozaki, think about it. Yeah, the stones got all glowy, so they probably can send you over. But what do you actually hope to accomplish once you get there?
また出られなくなって、下手したら今度こそ死んじまう。
What if you get stuck again and can't get out? You'll die.
そうなりゃ、ここでのお前の存在まで消えちまうかもしれねえんだぞ。
And if you die over there, your existence will be erased over here. You'll be gone. I tried to be as strong and commanding as I could possibly muster. I needed her to realize what a bad idea this was.
私の存在なんていい。それより、みんなを救いたいの。
I don't care if I'm erased. Yeah, well, he cares! Along with the rest of your other friends that are, you know, alive? The ones that aren't dead? The ones that survived along with you? What about them? I just want to save our friends.
救う?
Save them.
黒の本、ブックオブシャドウズのありかが分かったの。
The Grimoire. The Book of Shadows. I know where it is.
さっき言ってたあの本のことか?
The book you were talking about earlier?
見て。
Yeah. Here, look. She had that thoughtograph thing from Aiko with her and was pointing to the little girl's left arm.
私たち、実はもうさっき見えていたのよ。この女の子の左手のところ、それがブックオブシャドウズよ。
It's been staring us in the face this whole time. Look, in her hand. That is the Book of Shadows. I didn't have to look very hard to see it, but...
本か。 確かに持ってるな。それでこれがブックオブシャドウズだっていう確証はあんのかよ。
Okay, so she's carrying a book. Fine. But do you have any proof it's the Book of Shadows? Of course she doesn't. But when's proof ever stopped her?
ないけど、でも多分間違いないと思う。
No. But I don't think it could be anything else. There was a freaking reserve on the 3rd floor of that school full of books, last I checked.
多分ってお前。
For all you know, it could be Aesop's fables. You don't think?
天神賞へはね、この本を取り戻しに行くの。
We just have
そした
to...
らみんなの魂を涅槃から解き放てる。鈴本さんたちを今度こそ生き返らせることができるわ。
We just have to go to Heavenly Host. And get it back. Then we can save everyone's souls from Nirvana. We can finally resurrect Suzumoto and the others. How could I argue with that? How could you not argue with that, man? I've been arguing to... There were so many assumptions being made, but she was so sure of herself. So certain that this would work. She wasn't about to listen to reason. And this is when you should restrain her. Tie her up. Lasso her. Like cattle. Shinozaki shook her head furiously, like some sort of violent shudder. It almost seemed like she was trying to shake something loose from her mind.
つか、そもそもこんな石で本当に展示所に行けるのか？あの女、庭愛子だっけか？どう見てもうさんくさかったぜ。
But can these rocks actually take us back to Heavenly Host? That girl, Aiko Niwa, was it? There was something just not quite right about her, don't you think? Listen to him!
試してみなきゃだけれど。でももしまた天神賞に行けたら、みんなの魂がそこにあるんだから、今度こそ反抗の術が成功すると思うの。
Well, we won't know until we test them now, will we? But if they work, the souls of all our friends are on the line. And I believe we have a real chance of saving them.
篠崎。
You don't know for sure that this spell would even work in there. For all you know, you could just be setting something really nasty up for everybody. Like unleashing some kind of eldritch horror or something like that. She still had deep scars all along her arms, legs, and neck. Anyone could tell at a glance she just recovered from a serious accident. She sounded so self-assured, so self-confident, but it was hard to take any of that seriously. This was the first time in my life I found myself tearing up over someone. And not being embarrassed. Tearing up. Okay. And not being embarrassed that I was crying. Honestly, it surprised even me how deeply I cared about Shinozaki. And how much I just didn't want to lose her. My eyes were getting hot and glazed, and I felt utterly helpless.
こんなこと誰にも話せないけど、あなたは信じてくれる？岸沼君。
I can't talk about this with anyone else. But you trust me, Kishinuma, don't you? I was at a complete loss for words. I found myself literally scratching my head, trying to come up with a good answer. This was Shinozaki, and she had come to me for moral support, for encouragement, for peace of mind. It was really the first time she'd ever truly relied on me, ever truly counted on me. I knew then what I had to do.
もうよ、あのクソ学校であんな目に遭って帰ってきたんだ。今さら何があっても驚きゃしねえよ。お前が言うんなら きっとそうなんだろう。
Damn it. You know what we went through in that piece of shit school. There's no telling what might be waiting for us over there now. But if you're sure about this, we should do it.
理解はできないけどな。できないままに俺は決めたことがある。
Honestly, I have no idea what you're thinking. What you should be saying is, I have no idea what you're not thinking. Like the ramifications and like why everybody that you've been in recent contact with, who isn't your friends, seems to be trying to lead you along the nose somewhere, constantly. But I promised you one thing, and I intend to deliver on that.
決めたこと？
What one thing?
何があってもお前を守るってよ。
That I'd protect you, no matter what. Shinozaki and I stared into each other's eyes for a moment, each of us trying to figure the other out.
心配すんな。大丈夫だ。
Don't worry. Everything will be okay. I tried to force a smile. Shinozaki had basically curled up into a ball at this point. Her tiny body collapsed in on itself for support. But now, all of a sudden, she unfurled herself and glared at me. I couldn't tell if she was mad or happy or what. Her eyes were either like daggers or saucers. I couldn't really make out which. Maybe she come here expecting me to actively shoot down her ideas or something. Maybe she thought she'd be alone in this. Maybe she figured out what I was up to. Or maybe she'd been expecting me to say exactly what I said to her. And maybe it annoyed her? Either way, tears began to explode from her eyes, so quickly that red bags were forming under them almost instantly. Then she turned her back to me, all with one seemingly unconscious spin of her body.
Huh? どうした篠崎?
Shinozaki? Are you okay?
あのね、昼間私の頭ポンポンってしたでしょ。
During the day, you remember when you patted my head? She seems like she was trying her hardest not to let herself cry, though it wasn't exactly working.
んなことしたか?
Huh? I did? You don't remember?
した。あれだけど。
Yeah. You don't remember? She paused, seemingly waiting for me to answer. But I had no idea what to say, and absolutely didn't want to say the wrong thing. So I just stood there like an adult. Being silent could be a lot
やっ
worse.
ぱり覚えてないなら。
Never mind then. If you don't remember, that's fine. Finally, she turned back to face me, her tears mostly dry. Still a little self-conscious about crying, though, she kept her eyes closed, a telltale frown belying her confidence. There was obviously something between the lines for me to read here, but hell if I knew what it was. It's okay. I still have more hope for you than Ayumi at this point.
ああ、
In the brains department, I
お
mean.
前の持ってる石の片割れ見せてくれよ。
Here, let me see your stone. Huh?
うん。はい。
Oh, okay. Shinozaki removed the ever after stone from her pocket and placed it squarely in my hand. I positioned it next to my stone and stared intently at the two. This was the turning point. What I did next could decide our fates. I couldn't mess this up. Last chance to break them. Outside my window, I could still hear the sound of construction vehicles driving by. It was now or never. In as close to one solid motion as I could manage, I opened my window and chucked the 2 stones out into the road. Good on you, man! Good on you! Hey! I timed it perfectly. My aim couldn't have been better. Another truck was just about to pass by, and the stones were immediately in its path. Yes! The sound I heard next was a satisfying crunch. It was the sound of delicate, glass-like rocks breaking into tiny pieces. You rock, man. This is the single greatest thing you've ever done. Bar none. Shinozaki had rushed over to the window and directly witnessed the fate of the ever-after stones. As soon as the truck drove over them, she collapsed to her knees. She's gonna hold a serious grudge. Yeah, she's gonna hold a very serious grudge against you for this, but honestly, you made the right decision as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, I'll protect you no matter what I have to. Gah! I couldn't even finish my sentence before Shinozaki's palm slammed my face with incredible force. The loud smack of flesh on flesh echoed throughout the room. The side of my face was immediately in pain. I began rubbing it with my hand as I looked into Shinozaki's eyes. Her face was filled with tears, and her nose was running. She was breathing so heavily, her shoulders were bobbing up and down. I never should have trusted you! Shinozaki, listen! I was wrong to believe you'd help me. I should have known better. It's for your own damn good! She was absolutely hysterical with rage. You think I could just stand by and let you go back there? Back there?! It was my turn to fire back now. I was certain I'd done the right thing. Yes, you have! How do you even know for sure the book is there? And how did you intend to get back from that girl once you got there? Going over there without a plan would be certain death! I hate you! You're an ass! A delinquent! A worthless piece of shit! Who's got more brains in his skull than you have Schiffer brains! That didn't even make any sense, but still, he's got more brains than you do. Leaving me with those hurtful words, Shinozaki then pushed past me and ran out of my room, crying like a child the whole way. I stood back up again, rubbing my cheek where I'd been slapped. Worthless piece of shit. Ow. Please. Please. God, where are they? Oh, thank... Come on. Save spot. Save spot! Found them. They're okay? They're okay?! They're spiritual items, of course. Of course they could repair themselves. Fuck. But They were run over by a truck.
当然だろう。ただの石じゃねえんだ。
Why would that matter? Those aren't just any old stones.
あなたは
You.
よく手段を手に入れたな。論から手段、次に実践だ。進め。貪欲に貪るように邁進しろ。
The method is in your grasp now, wrested from the opposition. Now it's time to indulge in what you've won. To push forward and put that method to the test.
お前はもう飛べる。パンピーどもを超越する世の断りに手を突っ込むことのできる人間だ。
You can make the jump now. You're so much more than those filthy peasants. You can surpass them. You can interject your own will into the fabric of this world.
教えてよ。味方
Huh?
なの？
Oh shit.
篠崎
I just heard something disconnect. What just got disconnected? Okay, I think it might have been my keyboard. You. Okay, here we are. Are you on my side then? I don't think so. I think this guy obviously has plans. Big plans, and you are just his pawn. Shinozaki.
篠間くん
Shinuma.
比べて。こいつはクズだ。
I'm miles ahead of this trash.
はなんだよお前
Huh? Who the hell? It's that guy I passed. From Shinozaki's place.
壊れなかったのかそれ
They're still intact? Damn it.
篠崎渡すんだ
Shinozaki, give them to me.
いや
No.
ダメだ行くんじゃねえ何度死にそうになれば気が済むんだよ
This has to stop! You can't go over there! How many times do you think you can cheat death before death wins? I say death has already won several times now, but I get what you're saying. No!
渡せ
Hand them over, damn it! No! With that much force, you should probably be dead. Bad dog.
Ayumi,
Naomi,
味方かと聞い
you asked if I was on your side.
た。その通り。守るものだ。
I am. I'm your guardian. Yeah, okay, sure, I believe you.
俺はお前の姉。日の絵の世話になった一番弟子。矢後浦教会のキリア・ミストだ。
I was Hinue's, your sister's protege. Oh, really now? I owe a lot to her. My name is Misudo, Korea, of the Agura Society. Agura Society.
お姉ちゃんの
You were my sisters.
いい子だ。
Good girl.
会場のワードは覚えているな。
You remember the chant to unlock their powers, don't you?
さてと。それじゃあ実践といこうか。その石貸してみな。
Then let's get started. Let me see those stones. You fucking idiot. It's obvious he's up to no good.
Hold 俺にしっかり捕まってろよ。
on tight to me.
あとほら、お守りだ。 なくすなよ。
And here, a good luck charm. Don't lose it. Yoshiki, get up! The hell is that? Obtain Misuto's charm, the Argus Cube. Shinzaki, don't go! Don't.
ごめん。もう心配しないで。
I'm sorry. You don't need to worry about me anymore. Shinzaki.
お前は正しくパンピーの道を生きてろ。
You should live the life of a peasant. It's only fitting.
やめて。
Stop.
涅槃よ。死人を
Nirvana.
迎えよ。
I summon the dead.
マジかよ。
This can't be happening.
篠崎。篠崎。
Shinzaki. Shinzaki!
なんでだよ。
Damn it. Why?
そう
God damn it! You tried, man. You fucking tried. Holy shit, did you try. And I give you all the points for that. You... But unfortunately, it looks like once this stupid train is in motion, there is nothing that can stop it. Where am I? This place looks awfully familiar.
この匂い。この空気。
This stench. This heaviness. This heavenly host.
あれ
Huh?
ミストさんどこ
Misuto, where are you?
幸せの石
Give her after stones. They're gone.
どうしようあれはミストさんが
What do I do now? Misuto must still have them.
そんなあの石がないと
But without them? Yes, you're trapped! And frankly, I can't say that, this isn't your fault.
あの石がないと帰れないわ
Without those stones, I can't get back.
ミストさん
Misuto!
私またこの学校に一人ぼっち
I'm all alone in this school. Again.
そんな
God.
そんなことないよきっとどこかで合流できるわ前だってそうだったもの
No. I can't start panicking. He's here somewhere. I'll find him. This is just how it happened last time, too. Hi! Huh? Huh? No one is coming to save you. Die, kill, die. You should just die. Curse hate. Like a pomegranate.
お前ザクロ
Head so full of juice.
いらっしゃいませ。
Welcome. Okay. The horrible things written on the blackboard are glowing so brightly, they almost seem to be backlit. Even with Sachiko gone, the malice remains. Heavenly Hills Elementary. Notice to all faculty and students. Due to recent kidnappings, caution is highly recommended during all daily activities. In each instance, the victim was taken quickly and unexpectedly, so please remain alert and aware at all times. Principal Takamine Yanagahori. There are large quantities of long black hair stuffed into the cabinet. Okay. I'm assuming the general layout of the school is the same. So the stairs should be directly south of this room. And if there's stairs there, maybe there's a candle too. It wasn't this dark last time. Ah! There wasn't a clock like that in here last time either. I guess things really are different now. I hope Misoto hasn't gone too far. I don't even know his phone number. You wouldn't even get a signal in here anyway, so why would you even bother? Actually, I should leave a message for him. Oh, thank God, a candle! Misoto, Sayumi, please call me. 090XXXX. Okay. Good enough, I think. And I'll see if I can find him anywhere. We are not going anywhere. We are just going to save. Right here. Right now. Yeah. Holy fucking shit. 2.5 hours. And no checkpoints in between. I really hope this isn't going to be a common occurrence in this Let's Play, because holy fucking shit will that be annoying. Whatever. Maybe you guys will enjoy the extra long episode. I sure hope so. If nothing else, I guess it hasn't been boring from start to finish, this particular episode. But it is late, I want to stop, and I got things I gotta do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Corpse Party Blood Drive. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.